-2. We're officially below sea level. -21. Good morning. So we just woke up. Last night we drove outside of Death Valley National Park, and we're going to spend the next couple days exploring the park. We've never been here before. We are just making breakfast right now. We stayed at a deserted old, I don't even know what you want to say, no longer campground, so it's kind of cool because it's right outside of the park and all that's left are the cement pads. So we were super level last night sleeping, and yeah, we're gonna go and check out the park today.
Death Valley National Park borders eastern California and Nevada. It's the largest park in the contiguous United States with over 3 million acres. It is also the hottest, driest, and lowest of all the national parks in the United States. Death Valley currently sits at 282 feet below sea level, and it's also part of the Shoshone Native Land.
I really hope we don't have to gas up while we're here. $7.72 a gallon for some diesel.
Ouch.
Not bad for Death Valley. It's only 64 today.
So we just left Furnace Creek Visitor Center, and we've gotten the lay of the land of the southern part of Death Valley that we want to explore today. We're going to go down Badwater Road and hit as many highlights as we can along the way. First stop, Golden Canyon Trail. This trail is a 2.7 mile out and back, unless you want to link it in with some others to turn it into a 4 mile-ish or so loop. We're choosing just to do the there and back because we've got a lot of things we want to see today.
Our original plan in Golden Canyon was a quick 3-mile out and back hike to check Red Cathedral out, but after talking to other hikers on the trail, they recommended that we do the loop to include the Golden Badlands and Gower Gulch. This turned our hike into a 6 to 7 mile loop, taking us among the canyon as well as through the Badlands. These golden canyons were primarily formed by water erosion from periodic flash floods and provided a stunning view of this section of the park. So when we first got to the trailhead, it was packed to the point where we had to park on the side of the road. So I was slightly concerned that there was just going to be people everywhere, but because we ended up doing the full loop, we saw people, but it wasn't that bad. So don't let the trailhead, fool you.
We didn't see a lot of people.
Come and actually do this hike because it's such a nice little hike.
There's a lot of offshoots and hills, and everywhere you look, there's little trails. Everybody's walked everywhere. So you can explore off the main trail or just stay on the main trail.
Our second stop of the day is taking Artist Drive to get to Artist Pallet. It's a one-way street, and it just shows all the different colors of rock and minerals in the area, and I'm excited to see it because I've seen pictures of it and it looks like there's going to be some purples and greens and a whole bunch of different hues. It's pretty busy, so we didn't realize that this is a big sky weekend, so I think it's busier than usual, but also Death Valley is most popular in the wintertime because it's not over 100 degrees, so I think the combination of those two things are making it a little bit busier than usual. But every trailhead we've gone to, or location that we've gone to, we've basically just had to pull over on the side of the road because it's just been so packed. Artist Drive is a very scenic drive, but we recommend you get out and explore this unique landscape on foot. Artist Pallet was created by repeated volcanic eruptions which were then chemically altered by heat and water. The colors were created by iron minerals giving the red, pink, and yellow hues, magnesium minerals giving purple hues, and the green hues were formed by weathered volcanic tuff. As we continued south on Badwater Drive, we reached our third stop of the day, the Devil's Golf Course. This large salt pan was once Lake Manly, which was 600 feet deep. Now, what remains are jagged crystallized salts that were formed by wind and rain. On warm days, you can hear a metallic cracking sound as the salt expands and contracts, forever changing the rugged landscape. We are hiking up to the Natural Bridge. It's a mile round trip, and we're trying to get up there before sunset. Make it to the basin before it gets dark. So that's the plan. This bridge was created by a flash flood of water just barreling through it. It's about 35 feet high by 35 feet wide.
So this is a dry waterfall. Clearly no water running down it, but you can definitely see how it's smoothed out the walls of the canyon. Drops from there. Just got back from Natural Bridge Canyon. Not a bad little hike. It's worth the walk. And the sun just set behind Telescope Peak.
We are at the Badwater Basin.
The lowest point in the park. However, if you look up above me, there's a sign all the way up there that says sea level. It's pretty wild. This is where it all happens. 9,000 miles of watershed land in this basin and evaporate and create salt and minerals. So that mountain range and that mountain range are still moving and still active, and the basin is actually still getting deeper because of that. And if there's a major earthquake, it can sink even more.
We just got to our campsite. We're staying at the same place that we stayed this morning, on the slabs in the desert campsite. We're just eating some chorizo and broccoli ramen.
And that's a wrap for day one, Death Valley. We'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Day two. My eyes are watering because I'm up earlier than I'm supposed to be. We're going up Dantes Peak. We were thinking we were going to try to catch the sunrise. Dre got up at 5:30. Started packing up the van and was getting ready to drive, and the sun was already peeking over the horizon. So we probably should have tried for maybe 5. But it is what it is. So we're going to drive up the road to Dante View and check it out.
This quick detour is definitely worth it. If you're a morning person, we recommend coming at sunrise. At 5,475 feet, Dante's View gives you a panoramic view across the Badwater Basin and beyond, towards the Pennant Range where Telescope Peak, which is the tallest peak in the park, resides. On very clear days, you can see Mount Whitney, making Dante's View a unique location where you can see the lowest and the highest points in the lower 48. For today, I think our plan is to slowly mosey north. There was a couple things that we still wanted to hit up that we went past yesterday. We are currently at Zabriski Point checking out the view, which is on the backside of Golden Canyons. This is also a great location to watch the sunrise, which is why it's popular with photographers. So this is Manly Beacon, and we came up over this valley and then down into these golden canyons and back over to get there. So this is just giving us the other side point of view. So we just stopped at the section of the park where they used to manufacture borax. I'm just getting Maisha out on this dirt road to get some exercise, stretch her legs before we continue on exploring the park. Because, like I've mentioned before, every time we're in a national park, she just doesn't really get to have fun because she can't be out anywhere except for on the roads. So, get a little walkie in for her. And she'll be happy snoozing for the rest of the day. So we're currently heading northwest to see some different sections of the park today. And once we got back above sea level and we're out of the basin, the landscape has actually changed. And now we have some shrubbery, some sands off in the distance. You can see sand dunes. And it's a lot less dry and more green.
So we just popped out of the park. Figured it'd be a good idea to get some gas outside of the park. Yesterday the gas was diesel was $7.72 a gallon. So we just popped out to Beatley, Nevada. It was only 6 miles away from where we're currently planning on being in the park. Gas here is $4. So lunch, gas, and then back to the adventure.
Titus Canyon Road is 27 miles long with one-way dirt and gravel roads that pass through rugged mountains, colorful rock formations, a ghost town, petroglyphs, and narrow canyons. We are going down and then all the way up this pass. Red Pass is the highest point on the road at 5,250 feet in elevation, and it provides a spectacular view of the canyons.
Probably halfway through, we just got over Red Canyon Pass, and we've stopped. There's 2 or 3 Jeeps behind us. I'm waiting. I want them to go through so I don't slow them down because I'm in a Sprinter van. Best tool for the job.
We're basically the only 2-wheel drive vehicle on the road that we've seen so far, but the signs say 2-wheel and high clearance, so it's not like we're not supposed to be on this road, but it's mainly 4x4 vehicles.
Nothing said 4x4 only.
Yeah.
There's a couple sections where you had to go really slow, and it was a little rocky rolly with some divots and big rocks and things, but definitely nothing. I mean, I wouldn't take my car down it, but an SUV, a van, a 4x4, anything, no problem. So we just came down this ridge and parked right there. Saw this little walking path up to this pile of tailings. Dre's excited about donkey poop. I am excited about the tailings because I knew not too far away there would be a mine shaft. Of course you can't go in, which is fine by me, but kind of cool nonetheless. What can you tell us about the donkey poop? Oh my gosh, not a fresh one.
I've not been here in a while.
That's my little animal sanctuary queen right there, just picking up donkey poop like it's nothing.
Leadfield is a ghost town that once boomed with 300 people, and it only lasted for 7 months in 1926. But now all that's left is a few shacks and mines. Although this is considered one of the most popular backcountry roads in Death Valley, we had it mostly to ourselves the day we went through. Titus Canyon is located at the last section of the road and has dramatic limestone cliffs towering above you as you drive through the wash towards the mouth of the canyon. In some sections, the canyon walls are only 20 feet wide, which made it, in my opinion, the most interesting part of doing this road.
We just finished Titus Canyon. When we read the sign at the start of it, it said it would take roughly 3 hours. We kind of giggled to each other and didn't think it was going to take 3 hours. Exactly 3 hours later, we finished. So I think we're going to try and get a campground tonight, because this afternoon when we were in Furnace Creek, there was still availability there. So we're going to try and pop in there, see if we can just stay at the campground. If not, we're going to have to boondock in the park. Good morning. We
just got up. We are at the Mesquite Spring Campground in Death Valley. We got one of the last spots. Someone came in right after us yesterday and took a shortcut and took a spot, and we thought they took the last spot. It was not good, but we did get one. One of the unique things about Death Valley though is that you can disperse camp. We haven't done it yet, and I don't know if we're actually going to end up doing it while we're staying here, but you can basically camp as long as you're a mile off of any of the main paved roads. And there's tons of dirt roads that shoot off of the main roads. So that's a cool, interesting fact if you come in, a camper van or a van like ours. So we're coming up on the Ubehebe Crater, which I'm not sure if we're pronouncing that correctly. But this part of the park kind of reminds us of Craters of the Moon in Idaho. So different compared to the rest of the park. Although you can see the crater from the parking lot, we recommend walking around Little Heeby or Ubehebe Crater. We had never been anywhere before that you could walk around or into a crater and thought it was definitely worth the visit.
So we are about halfway around the 1.5 mile hike around Ubehebe or Ubehebe Crater. Not sure which one it is, but 600 feet deep from top to bottom, and it was apparently formed by magma coming up and making contact with groundwater, followed by a big boom.
Our second stop for today is Salt Creek Interpretive Trail, and in the springtime, which it is spring right now, we're a little early, we're at the end of February, you can, if you're lucky, see some of these pupfish. And apparently when Death Valley was actually Manly Lake, it was full of fish, but these pupfish have survived over time, and as the lake's evaporated, it's created 5 different locations in the park that still have these pupfish, so they've become 5 different species, and they survive. And as the water evaporates, they can withstand living in an environment, these are freshwater fish, living in an environment that is saltier than the ocean. So they're highly adaptive. You can see how salty it is with all the salt on the banks. So as of right now, it's probably saltier than the ocean. Cold?
Cold.
There are a handful of different sand dunes located within Death Valley National Park, but Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes are the most accessible because any vehicle can reach them. Named after the mesquite tree, which grows in abundance in the area. This is actually the 3rd set of dunes we've been into in national parks.
Great Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado, White Sands National Park in New Mexico, and Mesquite Sand Dunes in Death Valley.
If you can't tell, we're a big fan of sand dunes. They're fun to play on, fun to explore.
80 degrees outside, but the hot sand burns your feet for sure. Looks like a lizard. See little footprints dragging his tail. All right, last stop of the tour. We are at Mosaic Canyon, and we're about to do a 4-mile hike to see what's going on inside. There's some interesting polished marble, some interesting rock formations, and we're gonna check it out.
From what we've read about the hike, it's a 4-mile out and back, a little bit of slot canyon and a little bit of rock scramble.
Mosaic Canyon was one of my favorite hikes while in Death Valley National Park.
So this is remnants of a railing that used to be used to get up this section of the trail. But after a good storm, up to 20 feet of gravel can fill between these canyon walls.
It's just like so smooth from the water carving.
Polished. Water polished.
Around every corner in the canyon, you're reminded of just how powerful water is. So when the water comes through here, the minerals left behind basically cement to the rocks and make a mosaic. Pretty cool looking. You can just picture how the water like cascaded down here, had a whirlpool, and then continued down. You can see it. The now dry fall at the end of the trail during flash floods becomes a powerful waterfall that smooths the edges of the jagged walls and naturally cements smaller rocks with sediment as it rages down to the mouth of the canyon.
Looks like a wave. So the end of Mosaic Trail is a 25-foot waterfall. Most of us can't go any farther than this.
That's your Alex Hall.